It's a great pleasure to introduce Dr. Wolfgang Peter, who will give the graduation lecture today. Now, like everyone who rises to the top of this profession, Dr. Peter is anything but one-dimensional. He's been the CEO of an exclusive watchmaking company. He's handled M&A transactions as a corporate lawyer for some of the best-known luxury brands in the world. And he's founded 3 highly successful law firms. In his spare time, he's been counsel and arbitrator in more than 300 arbitrations, just to add that little detail. He has not one but 2 doctorates, one in law, one in economics, and one of his 5 university degrees happens to be from this very institution. So it's, in a way, a welcome back. So Dr. Peter, as I should have said, is going to share his thoughts on changes to the practice of arbitration, and he has only about 4 decades of experience to draw upon. So could you join me in welcoming Dr. Peter?
I'm afraid that when you said Dr. Wolfgang Peter, you were starting to stutter, but I'm relieved it's not the case. I'm sorry, but I have to put a switch watch here on this desk because I was told that in exactly 20 minutes the mics will be shut off, and I don't want them to be shut off in the middle of a sentence. So I would first of all like to thank Professor Zachary Douglas for this invitation. I'm very honored to have the opportunity to speak to you on this important day, which is your graduation ceremony. As Professor Douglas mentioned, I'm very proud to be a former student of this institute, unfortunately many years ago already. Now, I understand that you as students have come from all over the world. I wish to congratulate you. And I respect what you have achieved. I understand that you have invested considerable efforts. Some of you may have had some personal sacrifices to be here, although I also understand that you have all worked before, but that doesn't go without saying that it is a sacrifice to stop. I did this myself some years ago, and I know how that works out. Now, MIDS is one of the most selective programs in the world. And I think that, therefore, you will have great opportunities on the markets, and you can expect to be in many cities or with arbitration hubs, and the world is open to you, so to speak. And I also believe that you may have formed friendships and connections here with other of your colleagues, and that is very valuable. That has been very valuable for you, and I think this is a quite natural thing. Now, I'm supposed to speak about changes to the practice of arbitration. I will do that as far as the last 40 years were in a very fast fashion, because I would like to focus more on the changes which I expect or see to come. And that may be more of importance to you than to understand that 40 years ago, there was in the arbitration world only paper, typewriters, submissions only by postal service, inefficient photocopiers, telephone landlines only with frequent connection problems, and slow fax machines with bad, soapy quality prints. Now today, we have revolutionary technologies, and everything is digital. And in short, I will list what you already know anyway, which is that we have electronic transmission of huge volumes of materials, data banks, video conferences, remote hearings, and artificial intelligence, which profoundly transforms working technology. Now, for me, it looks like we were riding a horse 40 years ago, and now we're on an airplane. But I think what is even more remarkable beyond technology is that there were changes which have occurred in the last 40 years, which are not just technical. You don't have geographical limitations for your careers. you will not be locked up in one legal system only. Foreign jurisdictions open to you. While 40 years ago, practicing outside one's home jurisdiction used to be almost impossible, I can assure you that. Working from home today is possible, was unthinkable 40 years ago, not just because of technology, but also because there was a different mentality. So there are so many opportunities now for you. That is absolutely fantastic. But now comes the other side of the coin. What are the changes which lie in the future? You know that there is a lot of discussion about artificial intelligence. And you know that a number of people ask themselves what knowledge will be needed in the future, what skills will be needed, what experience is still useful, and can knowledge, experience, and skills simply be replaced by artificial intelligence? Now, I want to be realistic, and I probably think you know it already, that our activities will be affected for work which is repetitive, pattern-based, rules-driven. That's clear. And I have listed a few points like document review, proofreading, citations, basic legal research, which I did, spending hours in my law firms, in the law firm's library, to look for a point. And nowadays, that is over. Fast research is there to identify documents, and you are really nowadays with the technical development in another technical world. But my point is, there is a danger of over-reliance on artificial intelligence. Very great danger, I see it. We may need safeguards to ensure that human judgment remains at the center. Some of you may have seen that 2 days ago, the American Arbitration Association has started its first artificial intelligence arbitrator. Now, they caution you shouldn't be worried. It's only for purely documents only. In other words, it's not what we call real arbitration. I hear that, but I know that as many developments, this is often the first step only. And if you read the full article, you realize that the ambition goes further than just arbitrations for documents only. Well, today, all arbitral awards are made by human beings. And today, human beings accept that awards are made by human beings. That's the important thing, the acceptance of awards. Now, could this change one day? Because, and here I speak of what some of us have seen and experienced, that decisions are made by arbitrators who are very subjective, imprecise, in contradiction with the law, in contradiction with the file record, riddled with oversights, and too slow. And that there is a temptation that artificial intelligence decisions may look much better. My answer is that humans must be in pursuit of excellence, demonstrating high levels of knowledge, skills, and experience, and inspiring trust in their work towards the parties. But will humans always find it unacceptable that legal decisions are made by robots? Well, I hope they do, but as I mentioned to you before, the launching 2 days ago of the AI arbitrator is not a very good sign. There's still good news, though. The core activities in our dispute settlement careers will resist. I look at client relations, which you build and develop and maintain, strategy decisions, negotiations, advocacy, judgmental activities, and new legal techniques, which cannot be replaced easily by artificial intelligence. I would like to mention one. I launched a little bit over 20 years the concept of witness conferencing, which means that if you have two witnesses or two experts, as to give an example, who are very far apart, and even through cross-examination you have not been able to narrow the gap, you will hear them jointly, and you will ask them sharp questions, back and forth like a ping-pong game, to narrow that gap. This is something I don't expect there's an artificial intelligence to do, but artificial intelligence will assist us in preparing the critical question, review the file, and program the sequence of questions. Now, what is needed facing AI, in my opinion, my humble opinion, is first of all broad general education and knowledge. And when I speak of broad general education and knowledge, I think about when I was in my studies in the US, I often heard, oh, Switzerland is such a beautiful country, but unfortunately I don't speak Swedish. And then when I ordered in a bookshop a number of books too heavy to carry on board of my plane, they never arrived in Geneva. I inquired later, and I was told, well, we sent them to Swaziland, as you said. So coming back, broad general education and knowledge, building of experience, independent thinking with an open mind, very serious and continuous fact-checking, especially now, and beware of social media as a main information source. I may say in passing, I found quite interesting a book by Max Fischer, which is called The Chaos Machine, and which describes in a very interesting way how, to some extent, people are brainwashed by using too much social media. You may agree with it or not, but I think it will be making interesting reading for you. So my point is, use and manage artificial intelligence as a tool so that it shall not become your master. But on the other hand, and I know that my friend Professor Tertier will say, but it's a wonderful invention, it's a great development. Yes, I mean, in many ways it can be used very well. I look at one of my arbitrations now. The arbitration operator says we have 55,000 pages on record, and it is, of course, possible that AI easily ingests the full file, and then you can program what it's supposed to do and how it's going to be helping you. Now, there are other important changes evolving in our practice as I see it. I mentioned already indirectly increased mobility. I see younger people around me, and they look out to Europe, Asia, Africa, the Americas. These perspectives are possible now. There are also opportunities for independence at an earlier age than were 40 years ago. I see now young lawyers create law firms, and I think some of them are successful, some others may not, but this is how life is. Young independent arbitrators open their practice. I hope they're always independent, but at least they open their practice very early. I caution, though, if you want to have independence at an early stage, you may have to make some sacrifices for it. It's not easy, because we are living in a world which is under very tough competition, and tough competition will divide it between those who bring the knowledge and experience to master it. I give you one example of changes. In the future, there will only be short list appointments, I explain. When you're going to be appointed as counsel or arbitrator, you will be approached and they say, well, we would like to put you on a short list, and then we will see how it works out. And so you're there with 4, 5, 6 other people on that short list, and you wait for the lottery ticket, whether you're a winning ticket or not. In my first years, there was no such short list, I can assure you. I was approached by legal counsel, I was approached by various people, and they wanted to directly appoint me. And I thought that was quite natural. They knew me, and I thought I could do the job, and that's it. Well, that's over. Because now, with a number of what I call politically correct developments, it may be seen as favoritism if you are directly appointed, so it has to go through a shortlisting. It is also to protect people that appoint you as a law firm, because if things go wrong, the board may say, well, why did you appoint them? You should have made a list and we discussed it, and so forth. So the atmosphere has changed. One other point which I would like to make, I see that a lot of us are proud of conversational knowledge of languages, and that is nice if you want to order pizza in Italy. But I think that if you want to use languages as a real professional tool, and you want to chair an arbitral tribunal, for instance, as an example, you may want to focus on fewer languages, but in depth. That's very, very important. Then another point is you can no longer be a pure lawyer nowadays and leaving financial and technical issues to experts or knowledgeable people. I knew one one giant of international arbitration, but he was well ahead in terms of generation of me, and he said, I'm a pure lawyer, I'm a real lawyer, this is what we're all about, finance and technical thing, I leave that to the experts. And he waved his hand in that sense. Well, you can't do that anymore. You are expected to develop some knowledge in these fields, and I believe that you have done so. I remember a situation where I was sitting with an arbitrator who, what was it? Yeah, it was an M&A post-acquisition arbitration, which is accounting heavy. You know, it's one of these arbitrations where you have to decide post-fact if things have changed, if the price has to be adjusted, and that has been provided for in the contract. He came to me and said, can you explain something? I don't understand how this works with these balance sheets. You have assets, and then you have liabilities, and the same figure down there. Doesn't it mean that the company is worth basically zero? No, I wanted to be polite, so I said, it's a very good question, but there is something like an accounting system. But to myself, I said, how is somebody so brave to be in such a highly technical field and just think because he is an arbitrator, he can do it? Well, that has changed. I think I'm impressed by the skills and competence and the learning that has been shown by younger professionals in the field. Then one thing which I think I want to tell you is that when we speak about not only being a pure lawyer, do not accept to be confined in your legal profession. I'm not saying don't move into another profession. People do this and they may have very good reasons to join a bank or a trading house. I'm speaking about, as a lawyer, you can have accessory activities. I see lawyers who develop entrepreneurial activities, such as, for instance, some invest and manage on the side third-party funding. You know what that is. I see lawyers who are much more fun. They own vineyards and manage them well, continuing with their law firm activities. Restaurants. I know a couple of them who own art galleries. And in this regard, as Professor Douglas has mentioned, I myself ventured into watches. I may mention in passing, I ventured into legal data banks. My former partner, Jacques Pito, and myself worked for years to develop a legal data bank. We were the two shareholders. Then that became bigger. It's called SwissLex. We opened it up to the legal editors. He is unfortunately passed away, but I still hold on to my shares in SwissLex. You may have heard about that legal data bank. So that was, if you want, somehow linked to our profession, but really another job. So let me tell you, you can develop entrepreneurship, and you can let you carry by vision and creativity. But you must note opportunities coming up, first step. You must have the courage to go along. But that often people don't. And you have to develop that, and you have to got to take a chance and figure it out. My final point, my final point, yes, our profession, that's very, very important. Our profession is about justice. It is not just making tons of money. That's very important. And you feel it more when you have done a number of years. Then some of the things you see become morally burdensome when you see it done, and how people unscrupulously proceed. So it's very, very important, because you need a moral compass to avoid the deplorable things we've seen happen all the time. Live up to an ethical standard. And then you will enjoy self-respect, which at the end of a long career is very important, and you will also be respected by others. Well, thank you very much for your attention, and I wish you much, much success in your careers.